Wait for it. This is going to be a live Free Cookies podcast with some true badasses. So let's introduce the first one. That's Kate Fagan. You saw her yesterday, but you may have also seen her on Outside the Lines, Around the Horn, Sports Center. Of course, the smarter half of the trifecta. I'm the good-looking half. She has 2 books, including the book she talked about yesterday, What Made Maddie Run, and the Free Cookies podcast you're about to see a live version of. Alongside her partner in podcasting and life, Catherine Budig. Budig. I've been saying Budig for like a year, so that was my baby step to on my way to correctness. She is a yoga teacher. You can find tons of videos and her moves on Yoga Glow. Author of 2 books, so they're tied. Whoever writes the third one first wins, including a book called Aim True. She's a speaker. She's a chef. If you don't follow her on Instagram, you are missing out on crazy food inspo. So follow Catherine Budig on Instagram. Her food looks amazing. I'm jealous of Kate on a nightly basis. She's a former yoga editor for Women's Health, a budding designer who has a capsule collection coming out soon, and she was an athlete in Under Armour's I Will What I Want campaign. So, sorry, Kate, that you're slumming it. Enjoy this amazing podcast.
Thank you, Sarah.
All right. So this is Free Cookies from espnW, and we are coming at you live from the espnW Summit.
We are.
What's
this
happening?
is a podcast all about sports, wellness, and lifestyle. We are bringing the sports to the wellness folks and the wellness to the sports folks.
Yeah, but we don't want to stereotype because there's a lot of like wellness people who really dig sports, like me.
We're going to test that out, actually.
All
Let's
right.
test your sporting knowledge here.
Very
Now,
good.
this is a live episode, and we often, have scripts and we go off script, but we wanted to give it to you as real as possible because we actually just finished season 1 of Free Cookies. It's live right now in the ESPN app and on Apple Podcasts, and guests include Abby Wambach. We had Thug Kitchen on, whose cookbooks just light up the charts if you're into vegan food. Oh, wow, an unexpected clap for Thug Kitchen right there. They're very popular. And season 2 launches in November, so this is just an in-between sneak peek live podcast.
All right, but let's get back to today's show.
Actually, no, before we get to today's show, a thing we do on the podcast that we did all through season 1 was a concept I like to call failed idioms. So Catherine over here doesn't know how to properly put together an idiom. So
I like to prefer that I recreate the idioms in a better, more interesting, elevated way.
okay, so we weren't even going to bring this up at all, except in the pre-show meeting, our amazing producer, Sarah Johnson, standing, not even looking, not even watching, just off stage. There we go. She mentioned that Catherine failed an idiom yesterday. So I'm going to need Catherine to share this failed idiom.
Well, we were talking about something important, and I very succinctly said, this is going to be my burden to bury. Which, think about it.
Yes, burden to
That's
bury.
better.
Yes.
Right, because I'm not going to carry it. I'm not going to bring it with me. I'm going to bury it. But I did correct myself right away.
What did you say?
I said it's my burden to carry.
Which is also a failed idiom. Let's actually go through some of the previous ones just so you get a sense. Catherine will routinely turn to me and say, "Do you want my 10 cents on this topic?" Which, so obviously I'm like, yeah. Still Megan Rapinoe's line, no, 2 cents will be fine. Just 2 cents, that's all I need.
Dropping dimes.
All right, so here's our lineup for today's show. We'll get into dropping dimes later. Catherine is going to share at the end a wellness tip because we like to do a little something called a healthy cookie. And we have the coolest guests ever. They're definitely in our top 2 in the sports power couple arena. They could be number 1 if we made stricter parameters, but right now they reside right at number 2 because we love lists.
We do. And we're kind of hoping by the end of the show they're going to be our new best friends.
Yes, that is the goal. So, but first, we are going to do a little bit of sportsing.
Yes, so I can prove my lineage.
Yes, the lineage, which is definitely a sports term. So, yeah.
It is.
Thank you, front and center. I feel like they listen to Free Cookies.
Thank
Okay.
you.
You're
Yeah.
funny. That's right. Thank you.
I'm going
All right,
to prove
so-
my lineage.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not like rocking a jersey on Sunday.
Yes, I actually don't love
Proving my
rock jerseys.
colors.
Yes, but- all right, so Lynx Sparks Game 5 is tonight, and thank you. Yes, hopefully we are all going to be watching Game 5. And this is just like, this is where I kind of like that's KB, sports check here. NBA training camp is also open, and I like to just throw team names at her and see like what the response is. So a bunch of teams don't have any chance at winning, but then we've got like Golden State.
Dub Nation, Curry for the 3. All I do
Okay,
is
so
win,
you know
win,
that one.
win,
So
win.
Oklahoma City.
Lightning before the thunder, thunder. How many Twitter accounts does Katie
She's
have?
doing well. All right. Boston. This is a good one.
Okay, Celtics.
Where is it?
Land of Larry Bird and Annie Myers.
Where is Annie Myers?
Did
Is she here?
leave?
Oh, she's not here? Trying out for the Celtics back in the day. All right. So we've got 2 people coming up now. We've got no more time to just riff.
All right, fine.
All right. We're going to bring up World Cup winning, Olympic gold medal winning. Let's start here with Sue Bird. Thank you. WNBA champ with the Seattle Storm. 4-time Olympic gold medalist. We'll get some high fives along the way. Really sports it up. And
It's hot.
her assistant, Megan Rapinoe. Olympic gold medalist. World Cup champ. U.S.
Yep.
Women's National
pal.
Soccer Team. And Sue Bird's assistant.
Bring it, bring it.
It's so hot up here right now. I don't know if
It
the
is.
sweater
I
was
just-
the
I
right
just
choice.
Yeah, you're gonna want to
Take it
strip
off
down
right
a
now.
little
Yeah.
bit.
If I had
There
a
we go.
shirt on underneath, I would be stripping.
Yeah. No more, that's it.
So,
Can you actually explain that before we start? Why you are Sue's assistant?
There was a call that happened. I think I was maybe a late edition or something.
Weren't you up in Santa Barbara too? And they just
Yeah.
felt
Yeah, basically it was
She was
assistant.
Mrs. Bird in
Yeah,
Santa
it was
Barbara.
Mrs. Bird and
That's what it
Yeah.
was. I
At
got
a
it.
hotel. Mrs. Bird,
Yeah.
would you like? I was like, I think they're talking to you. Not me.
Yeah, I was like,
She
want
was
anything?
killing it at the pool.
That ain't me. Yeah, I was fine with that. That was nice. And there was some kind of conference call, and I think my name kept being brought up, and it was like, oh, is Megan? Is that Sue's assistant?
Sure is.
Yes.
It's like,
World
is
Cup
now.
winning.
and
Yeah.
as someone who has
Right.
a last name that's always mispronounced, it's Budig, by the way. Like, can
Yeah.
you give me some iterations of
Before you
how
became a
This
This
has
is
been
very
shocking. Like, to me, Rapinoe's pretty easy.
Yeah.
I know. I
for
don't
me,
think that's
it's,
difficult. Nobody ever gets it.
Rapinoe.
Rapinoe?
I still get Rapinoe when people like mention you.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
Rapinoe.
All
right,
maybe
but-
I need like a thing or I don't know.
So, a little known fact about Kate and I is that we actually first met at an espnW summit.
That's right.
So this is
Origin stories.
this is kind of like a little anniversary weekend or something. Working
So
great
happy
times.
we could join you.
But so that's our origin story, and I know that's a major tease because I'm giving you nothing. But we would really maybe like to hear a little bit of your origin story.
Yes,
and
please.
Give us the juice, the dirt.
It is.
this is,
Scoop.
this is my.
Just go for it.
We actually first met at like a USOC Media Days summit kind of thing. We have not the same agent, but basically the same in the same group. So my agent Dan, we were sort of passing and doing all these things, and he was like, "Oh, you got to meet Sue." And we've obviously played in the same city, but we had never
Met, yeah.
never met. So I made a really stupid joke. I think
Really stupid.
really.
Oh, whoa.
I was a little bit nervous.
Well, so this USOC thing, it's like humongo media day for all the Olympians. It's where they get all their content that you're going to see on TV. It's like a year prior to the Olympics. So I was in like full uniform, but like full makeup, hair down.
yeah.
Just
It was
not,
like
it
this
never.
from here up, and then
Yeah,
like
and then full uniform.
basketball from there down.
She's like, hey, what's up? How's it going? She's like, I'm getting ready for a game.
Yeah. It was just like that too. That's not even exaggerating. I was like,
I was like,
I basically
"Damn,
just
said she
walked
was
away
cool."
like, this is not good. And then we had to like go, but then I was nervous, you know, you had
Yeah.
to like go, and then we didn't meet again until
Yeah, fast forward like
yeah.
8-9 months.
Fast forward, we're at the Olympics. We got out just a little bit earlier than we thought we were. Most of the team had gone home, but there was a few of us that went to Rio and just tried to enjoy it a little bit and saw a few games. Like I said, was hanging out. We had kind of the same agent, so we were all hanging out. Saw a few of your games. Went to your after party.
Hit me in the DM.
Oh,
Is that?
Nah, not like that.
slid into the DM.
Yeah,
Not
I'll
like
say
that.
that.
Mm.
I did not slide into.
She
the
didn't
DM.
slide.
I did, but I didn't. Yeah,
Sauntered right in.
yeah, just not.
No, it was actually for a purpose. It was actually when our team had just worn the black shirts and kind of made a stand, if you will, and obviously Megan had kneeled. You know, wait, after that you kneeled actually.
I think it was after.
Yeah, it was after.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we were chatting about that. It was actually just.
But it was that summer. I mean, that
Yeah,
July, there
that
was,
summer.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know, the 5 cops were murdered, and there was a bunch of people shot, and it was just sort of this big, and the WNBA had kind of waged waged into it very heavily. So I was like, that is so cool. Blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sue likes to think that I slid right.
And then I actually got hurt at the Olympics. There was one game I got hurt, and I really wasn't sure it was my knee. I really wasn't sure what was going to happen. She was like, "Oh, is everything okay?"
Oh.
And then eventually started texting, and then we got back to Seattle, and the rest is history, as they say.
Okay. All right. So you guys mentioned briefly some of that activism, and I think from an outside perspective, it seems like Megan, you've been, because it's an individual at times, like more out there and vocal about certain things, and Sue often being more reserved about that activism. What have you two learned from each other on that front?
I've probably learned to maybe just take a second, think about things, just a split second longer. So I think you're much more thoughtful and patient in that way. But I think we both at the heart of it feel the same way about these issues and want to be involved. I think we just have different ways of going about it, which I think is wonderful. I think oftentimes if you're not doing it like the way I'm doing it, then it's like, oh, that's not enough. And it's like, well, everybody can't do it that way. There's so many different paths that people have to take that are impactful in different ways. So I think at the heart of it, we both sort of feel the same and want to be involved and have very strong opinions about it. We get in, not arguments against each other, but we'll just conversations all the time about whatever that.
Well, she's obviously very passionate about certain things, and not that I'm not, but I said a little more I'll think about it more and kind of. So I'm constantly playing devil's advocate at her, even if I don't believe it.
Right.
I'll just kind of
Yeah,
like,
you don't believe that. Just making her stronger.
I'll be like, well, what about the, yeah. So it's always good conversation.
Well, we talked about that briefly last night. We had dinner last night. Again, we're going to be best friends. And my takeaway was, wow, we just sat next to two of the biggest female athletes in the world. And in particular, Sue, I was like, she's so chill. Like, you would never think that you're sitting next to one of the best basketball players in the world. You're just so relaxed. And Kate was like, well, that kind of is emblematic of the sport. Like, this
to
energy.
some degree, playing in the WNBA versus because that's flown under the radar compared to some of the exposure that the soccer teams. I mean, have you guys? I'm sorry.
I'm just curious, is that even emblematic of your personalities as well? Because Megan, I was so pumped to meet you because I've been following you, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna jump together and like my sparkly boots.
I do
And
love
she
your
definitely
sparkly
likes
boots.
your sparkly
I saw them last night and I was like, I'm sorry, what? I might be able to do that heel, but I don't know.
Oh, the question was
Right.
is that
Got it, yeah.
emblematic? Actually, the outside perspective of
The boots.
Megan being kind of
Yeah.
the more fiery, bouncing around one versus Sue. Is that actually the reality?
I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm way more chill.
Yeah, she is. She totally is.
And
I'm
part of
irrational.
that's sorry. Oh, please go.
I just said I'm
She just called herself irrational.
Yeah.
So the background for you guys in your different sports, I'm curious because Sue, you've been in locker rooms so much more with women of color in the WNBA. How has that shaped your perspective both on how women's sports are perceived by the outside world and how the WNBA lands in the media and fans? And how has it shaped your perspective?
Oh, since I can remember, it's probably shaped who I am as a person. I think about growing up, I always played on AAU teams. So I grew up in Long Island, New York, and there was maybe one black family in Syosset at the time. But I was always in the summers, playing with my AAU teams, which was based out of Queens. And so I was the minority. And then I actually switched schools, and that was really a turning point, I think, in terms of just seeing other cultures. And actually, I ended up playing in Europe for many years, which I've always said helped me become just open my eyes, There's different cultures out there. And just because it's different from yours doesn't mean it's wrong, and you have to learn to respect it. Because there's a lot of stuff in Russia that I do not get, but I learned to appreciate that this is what they do and how they do it. Same can be said in my basketball life. I think I got to see things firsthand, whether it was, people's family lives, what they were like, how they were treated both on and off the court. Then in college, my roommate was Swing Cash. My classmates were two other African Americans. So just seeing them kind of go through, we're on the same journey, but we're not. We're at the same school, kind of sort of experiencing the same things, but in a totally different way. And just having conversations with them. I mean, if you know Swin, I just heard a woo, so you definitely do.
There was a woo out there. That was from Sarah Spain. Yeah, that's great.
So she's very vocal and has, a lot of opinions and sees things. And it was always great to converse in that way. And all that did was, open my eyes to things. I got to see things, and I don't understand how people don't see it, but that's because it was, it was in my face all the time.
Wait, if I can ask a quick follow-up, Megan, like what along your journey toward being vocal and being more of an activist, like what are some of the key milestones there for you?
I think just in general, being a gay woman in sports, a gay female athlete, there's some things that you have to overcome with that. But I think having always had the main thing sort of be the national team and representing your country and what that means, and everybody, loves America and loves to love America. And I think it started to become very clear to me, like, what does that really mean? What does that mean to me? And what are we representing? What do we, sort of want to represent? What do we want to talk about? I realized very early on the impact that we had and the popularity that we had as a team. And I was kind of like, oh, I can like leverage that or use that to talk about things that I think is what represents America and what represents me, actually, and other players on my team.
Well, and speaking of platforms, and this is for both of you, I'm curious what your reaction is when you hear comments like female athletes and women's sports teams need to up their platform to expand the audience, to expand the viewership, to get more.
Yeah, what's your reaction to that?
I agree.
It's like we have to do everything. Like we have to, be outrageous and totally calm at the same time, and you have to, be this and be that at the same time. It's kind of like simultaneous. You have to do it all and pander to all and be responsible for all and grow the viewership and, be in charge of marketing, getting people to come to the games and be nice. And, it's like, how much can, one team or one person or, sort of one person actually do? But it's frustrating sometimes. I feel like it's never enough in a way. It's like whatever you do, there's something off with it.
Yeah.
Any input on that?
No, I agree.
No. Yeah. Well, okay, so kind of spring it to
It's
the
frustrating.
wellness angle for a second.
Catherine likes to make things wellnessy.
It's kind of what I do. So from a wellness aspect, I'm curious, as professional athletes, where your vessel, your meat suit is like absolutely part of.
I like that meat suit.
Yeah,
I've never heard that.
You gotta
you gotta
wear
have the
this
meat dress,
suit
you got the
in
meat
order
suit,
to
yeah.
perform. But for me, I'm curious, because all humans kind of humming under the surface have some kind of insecurity or body image issues, or am I taking care of myself to look a certain way or to perform a certain way? So what's the marriage for both of you between, I have to treat myself and take care of myself a certain way because this is what I do for a living and I need to be optimal, versus, the emotional aspect of it and how you mentally feel in your meat suit?
Layers to that.
I know. You take this one first.
Well, I think like later in my career, like now, I really had to figure out what it was how I wanted it to look and end, if you will. And part of that, I had to change my diet, and with that, it was basically, all right, I need to control, we talked about this last night, I need to control everything I possibly can here so that when I get on the floor, I don't have to worry about this. I'll always have this to kind of rely on. And what I mean by that is, if you eat right, you do your workouts the right way, yeah, the byproduct is that you probably look pretty good, but you actually feel good, and you don't have to worry about, because when you have an injury or any kind of nagging anything, it affects your game. Yeah. So you just want to kind of check all these boxes so you don't have to worry about that. And like I said, the byproduct is that you do look good and you do feel good, but I think more than anything, it's just more, I know I have to do this to be good on the court. And that's really where all the drive comes from. Yeah. I don't know if that answered that, but.
How has your relationship impacted, or how have you impacted each other, and how either training-wise, like insights from different sports, nutrition-wise, have you guys had those conversations and made certain tweaks because of it?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Megan rebounds for Sue, which is a basketball player I could just find amazing.
Yeah. I actually
Standing
really
under
do
the
love
hoop,
it.
passing it out.
Are you a bounce passer?
Well, I think I've become really strict in a lot of ways, and actually just to add on to the last question, but I'm also very lenient. I'm kind to myself. Yes, I want to do this and I want to eat right, but I say it's like the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time on it, but then you got to give yourself the 20 and be nice. I had pizza last night, so what? I don't want to get up and have to run it off.
Yeah. Pizza.
Just be kind. I think that's a huge element of it, to be nice to yourself. You miss a shot, it's okay. Don't
Megan has to
beat yourself
chase
up.
it down. So
Yeah, that's true.
I was like, be kind to me.
But I think
Make it.
she's, well, I'll let you answer. I don't want to speak for you, but I think my strictness is kind of,
Yeah, I've gotten
Rubbed
a lot
off.
more disciplined since since
Is that
dating
real?
Sue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
like the first time she like cooked dinner for me, she's like, "Oh,
That
it's a
sounded
great
sweet,
recipe.
you know?
It's this soup," and I was like, "Oh shit," because like, what the hell's in this?
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, there's pasta in it, and there's all kinds of carbs and this and that."
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay."
She didn't want to like let her crazy out right in the
Not-
beginning.
not in
She
the
didn't say
beginning.
anything. So I'm like, how am I supposed to know that that's not on the plan or whatever? Sue works with this amazing woman, Susan Borchard.
Yeah.
Who she had worked with before, former college player. She played in the WNBA, I think. But she does this whole like eating plan, workout, this and that. So I was like, yeah, I want to get in on that. That sounds. I mean, this looks good. So I feel like let's like get this over here a little bit. But I think too, as I've started to get a little bit older, obviously I've had some injuries, and I think kind of when I met her, it was a year after I'd come off my ACL injury, and just like, okay, this body, I need to like take care of it because it's not just gonna like be out here being an iron woman on its own. I think I break down a little bit. So I think just seeing you and seeing the discipline that you had and sort of what it has done for you, and you sort of went through those couple of hard years and
Yeah.
kind of came out feeling a lot better. So I was like, well, I guess I'll just try it, see how it goes.
And
No more soups, that's for sure. Yeah. There's a lot of things. I was like, what do you mean? I thought that was no, it's not good. Okay. Yeah. Got
We
it.
relate to that. We've got a little bit of Kate's super strict, and I'm like always hungry. Always. I wake up
Yeah.
and one of the first things I say is I'm hungry, and she says coffee.
I'm like, let's chill out. Let's wait for dinner.
Yeah.
I'm on like the intermittent fasting plan.
Okay.
Not really. I try not to be. It's just like, you grow up some people, you have the one meal that you've always embraced. But anyway, off topic.
Off topic.
I'm much more strict, actually, which is odd.
It is. But okay, back to y'all. So the last time, Sue, we spoke, you taught me the term dropping dimes.
Mhm.
Dropping
Yeah,
dimes.
we had to teach it to Catherine.
Drop.
I don't know. Is that really a common thing that people know what dropping dimes is if you're not a basketball player?
Everybody knows that here at this summit. But regardless,
Regardless, Megan, what is the soccer equivalent of dropping dimes? There's got to be some kind of lingo or terminology that you
like you just had 2 assists in a big game, and what would someone say about Megan Rapinoe?
They're like, she got the cap. They're all obsessed with the cap.
The cat.
This cap thing. You played a game. It's not the same.
No, it's not the
Basketball's
same. She
very
doesn't get it.
confusing.
Yeah, I don't think so. We have a serious lack of like swag and like street culture in soccer. So it's just like there's nothing cool like that. It's like great assist there, great ball,
Yeah.
great
Great
ball,
Probably like that.
great ball. It's like
Okay.
that's
Well
it.
done.
Yeah, we don't have.
Yeah.
I guess I
hand
could
out
just
like
start
little
saying
awards
dropping
for
dimes.
like
You
most
should.
dramatic interpretation of getting kicked in the shin.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
gotta
like,
play it up.
Shin guards, big fallacy. They barely even wear them.
Yeah, shin guards are stupid, but we have to wear them.
Things you don't know.
I would-
Stop playing
I'm gonna
soccer.
start saying dropping dimes though, because
Right. I mean, it
Yeah.
feels like it would translate
that's cool.
to the soccer world.
Yeah.
and why not? You drop some dimes.
Yeah.
You dropped a dime.
Dropping them everywhere.
I know we
Right.
talked last night about that you guys at times go back and forth over like which sport is harder, which is more grueling, in what way. Can you share
Constantly.
some insight into how that conversation goes?
It's a constant
stalemate.
struggle of like, well, we run farther, and you're like, well, we do all the sliding, and it's like, well, there's the jumping, and then it's like, well, it's the hitting, and
Yeah.
it's like, if I was
Agree
younger,
to
I'd beat you in a
disagree.
race.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I do believe that.
There's no way to
Strongly.
tell.
I know.
There's
All
no
right.
way to tell.
But they're equally hard.
Oh, come on. I love that last night you're like, why can they only play one game a week?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where I've learned a lot. I think she was already like I played soccer
Lots.
growing up, but I think after 10th grade, it probably gets a little more. I don't know.
One would hope. Yeah.
A little more intense after
Well,
that.
yeah.
So there's a lot I don't know.
Stay the same. If you're in there in 10th grade, you're good. Everything's cool.
But
Well on your way.
she's like a huge basketball fan, so she kind of knows basketball. So there's stuff that I've learned about soccer that I'm like, wait, what? She's like, yeah, we can only play once a week. Like 2 times a week
sometimes
is a
like-
lot.
yeah.
I'm like, we just had a back-to-back on Monday and Tuesday, and I play Thursday, and we
know, I
fly
don't
on
get
Friday,
that.
and I play Saturday. I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
They can only play
Yeah.
once a week.
So that's where I'm like,
tired.
our individual game must be harder.
Or you guys are not as tough. One could argue.
I don't think so, though.
Okay, so I like because we did get to have spent some time together last night. So I'm like teeing you up to like say that thing again. Instead. So I asked you guys first. I was like, well, what would you guys talk about just if you were just going out to dinner? And one of the first thing Megan said was like, well, Sue, you have a lot of inventions.
I was like, what?
And then you actually
You
did.
do.
I don't have any patents though, so you can't.
You know,
know.
they're not
Are you
actual
sharing these out loud?
inventions, but
Do you want to share them out loud, or
No,
are they
no,
too
it's fine.
good?
I'm joking.
Okay.
no, like a lot of times something will happen or something isn't going right or it's not, you know, and you're like, I wish I would. She doesn't just go, I'm just like, that's so annoying, it's not working. And then she's like, oh, what did I do? Okay, so if it's this, then I could do this. And then it was like, then you
I was
have
like, this necklace is too short. Okay, break the end of that necklace.
Yeah.
Give me that thing, and I'm gonna make it longer. Boom.
yeah, necklace
That happened.
extender. Which they
Share at
apparently
least
they do
one of
fix.
your
Yeah, you gotta
inventions,
share.
please.
What about the Uber one?
Yes.
Oh, the Uber
Oh,
one's
the
good.
Uber one's good.
But it's like someone from Uber needs to do this. But
We had someone.
you know,
from
you like
over
We,
here.
we,
Uber
we
X.
actually had a fantastic.
Uber X,
Yep.
Uber, you know, whatever. There needs to be like Uber guy, Uber G, and it's like I went out with my friends. I wasn't planning on having 8 drinks, but I did. I was planning on having 1. I have my car. I Uber G it, and an Uber driver comes with a guy, and that guy drives your car home.
Yeah.
Right? Am
Yeah.
I right?
Uber G.
It's like
I'm sure they could pick up a better
Uber
name.
accidental.
Yeah, really good. Uber whoops.
Oops.
Uber happy hour.
Uber drunk.
Wait, share another one. Come on.
The ABA is a good one. That is much more well thought out. Not much more because the Uber one is thought out, but this one you've spent.
Yeah, I have insurance
some
stuff we
time.
haven't even gotten into on the Uber one. Could
Oh,
take
yeah,
it off
other
your
things.
insurance. It's a long story.
Uh,
The
A waiver.
ABA, and you were like, American Basketball Association?
Yeah,
I
you
was
don't
like,
need to start another
no.
basketball association.
I was like, the account before the account. That's the ABA. And it's basically like you go to dinner, and it's either, you can look at it 2 ways, like friendships or relationships, but you go to dinner, and let's say the 4 of us went to dinner, and we had a 5th friend. And I was that 5th friend for a very long time in my life. So I know what it's like when the check comes, and we want to split it, and these 2 put 1 card, and you put 1 card, and I get screwed, because I'm putting that 1 card. So that's kind of how it all like developed. That's just one thing that happens. But what it really came down to was, like I said, either relationship or roommates. You have the account before the account. Like you don't want the joint checking account.
Yeah,
That's
you're not
a lot.
ready
It's
for
a
that.
lot
Much.
for roommates, obviously. That's like we're not going
Very
down there.
early.
Too early for that.
Yeah.
Too early for that.
Can't
But
be diving right into the bank account, having the shared statement.
you're not touching my rubles.
Yeah.
So it's a way to put money into an account, the 2 of us, let's say, and we can like charge stuff to this account. But the key for me, I think nowadays is you want to be able to like do it easy. So the way a Starbucks card works, like
Gotta
the way
like
you
recharge
replenish.
it. It's gotta be
Yeah.
all.
And you can Venmo to this account. So rather than Megan pay for it, I Venmo her. We just both each month Venmo into this account, and then we use it.
See, this is
That's
I think
genius.
Uber and the ABA.
ABA,
You
yeah.
have a future when you're done with, well, in a lot of ways, probably when you're done with basketball. Plenty of things you could do.
You have at least one thing you can do.
Yeah. Now there's
that.
one thing that we've pinpointed. So good.
Well, and this is when we come to one of the more important parts of our podcast, naturally free cookies. So you got to give it up. What are
Yeah.
your favorite cookies?
Do you guys? Well, Sue kind of
Oh.
understands the
And
parameters.
watch
Yeah.
out, 'cause
Easy.
Kate gets
I bet
really
she said something
uptight.
similar.
Okay. Well, should I? Then I'll.
Yeah.
Should I give the parameters first?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You need
Yeah.
Does
parameters.
it come from a box?
You can't just pick this random cookie in Seattle that you once had
What do you
at
think I said?
at a shop. Like, oh well, like
Oh.
Josie's
Look, you
Bakery
can.
makes an
Okay, you
amazing.
can.
No, we need
It's
to
gotta be a
know.
standard cookie.
No, wait, this is
Yes.
a test. What do you think I said?
Oh.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the Macklemore.
Boom.
Yes. Okay. So
Yeah.
there's a specific cookie in
I was
Seattle.
like, is this a trick? This is-
Yeah, the Macklemore. It's like heaven on a.
What is it?
graham
I
cracker.
guess you
Yeah,
can
you gotta
describe it,
explain
even
this
though I've
cookie.
rejected as
Kate's
the
gonna
best
get really
chocolate
uptight.
cookie.
You gotta
Chocolate chip
describe it.
cookie that has a graham cracker imprinted into it, then it has some marshmallow thing, then it has a
Chocolate.
piece of chocolate, and it's
Melted.
melted. It is
It's so bomb.
So it's part of the
unreal.
20% of your.
Yeah.
diet.
Yeah,
Okay.
it takes up the whole 20%. It's like, are we going to Hello Robin tonight? I really want it. Can we please go?
So favorite from a standard cookie list, and this would be.
My standard cookie list.
But wait, can Sue guess what yours is now?
Oh,
I mean, I feel like we got to make this
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
Standard. I know what you would get at Hello Robin. This lavender thing.
Oh, that is good. It's like lavender chocolate chip. It's
That sounds
very
amazing.
fancy.
Yeah, what's your standard?
I mean, just a good solid chocolate chip is great. I do like a Mexican flourless
Mm-hmm.
because it's kind of chewy.
Also at Hello Robin.
Yeah, that's at Hello Robin too.
And Sue, we already know yours, but you could share for the crowd.
Yeah, chocolate chip.
Slice and bake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, slice and bake.
Slice and bake.
Preferably Pillsbury.
Yeah.
All right, this is the time of the show. Then you guys hang out while we do a healthy cookie.
Yeah. Speaking
you
of
just,
cookies.
you just get to hang out.
So we always try to on the podcast balance out, like we're doing lots of sports scene, then we try to get in some of the wellness scene. So in an episode like this, we drop it with a healthy cookie at the end. And what we've been talking about lately is that I am a very devout believer in essential oils. And Kate suffers from getting car sickness in the back of cabs since we were in New York City. And I've been begging her to use peppermint oil. And your response was, like,
I don't do
get
essential
away
oils.
from me with that.
That's really
That
yogi
voodoo that you do.
and not real.
Right.
So
And it-
don't bring that peppermint oil near me.
Which is kind of what y'all said earlier when I asked about essential oils too. So I've got a lot of
A
convincing
little
to
bit
do.
of, yeah.
We tried it
We tried. Yeah.
for
And
sleep.
meanwhile, like I've got my little like witchy apothecary with me in my
Yes.
bag, and I'm rifling.
She's like
through
sniffing
everything
things
for
as we
everything.
get on the plane,
like poofing it.
rubbing it in places.
And so she finally caves the other day, and she starts using peppermint oil, and she's like, "Oh my God, I wasn't with her." And she texts me, she's like, "I was totally gonna throw up, and then I used the peppermint oil, and why have you kept this from me?"
Yes.
I'm like,
You should have been more forceful in advocating for the peppermint oil. So now everywhere I go, when I'm in the back of a car, I'm like putting it in all, smelling it, putting it on my
she
tongue.
walks in, and it's like peppermint patty just poof into the room.
So-
So, as an advocate of peppermint oil for y'all, so you should know, yes, it will keep you from tossing your cookies. Look at that.
Yes.
Hey.
Sauce.
Okay, so car sickness, nausea, that's going to be really good for you. Allergy sufferers, like I came out of the womb sneezing, so if you take peppermint oil and you take really deep inhales, it's because of the menthol in it. It's going to kind of help to get rid of phlegm, really sexy word, clear out your sinuses. That's going to help you out. Digestion, you can just
So you can start on
lather
the
your
essential
belly
oils.
up with peppermint oil with the instant gratification because it tingles, and then you can also down it. You only want to do a couple drops because your mouth will ignite into
Yep.
an icy hell. So do you like
Yes.
those polar?
This is what I deal with on a daily basis. All right.
But okay,
Oh, there's more?
I could keep going.
Okay. But we're actually going to do the outro of the show that we would normally do if we were in a studio because we have
That's
to
true.
thank the appropriate people.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks to our
people.
amazing guests, Sue Bird, Megan Rapinoe. Thank you guys for rapping with us. Dropping dimes.
That's true.
All right, Free Cookies is from espnW.
And it is produced by the amazing Sarah Johnson.
Yes. Woo! We got production help from Sarita Cobbs. Is Sarita around here?
Where's Sarita?
No. Kristen Sadowski, Ken Bourdreau, Lisa Stokes, and the rest of the awesome espnW team.
And inspiration for Free Cookies, as always, comes from our dog,
Where is it?
Ashi Budig.
Where's Ashi?
Hey!
That's right. That's
Who
our
is
puppy.
a firm believer that happiness is always one free cookie away.
Yeah. She's kind of on the podcast, but she loves cookies. So thank you for listening. Over and out.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, y'all.